Welcome to A Slob Comes Clean, the podcast. I'm Dana White. I blog almost every day as Noni over at aslobcomesclean.com. That's where I share my personal deslobification process. As I figure out ways to keep my own home under control, I share the truth about cleaning and organizing strategies that actually work in real life for real people who don't necessarily love cleaning and organizing. Thanks for joining me today. This is podcast number 95. And I'm calling it Making Time. This is an answer to a reader question that one of you sent me. I appreciate those so much. But if you'll notice, I never say things like questions will be answered in the order they're received because, I'm pretty random. I'm pretty sure you know that if you've listened to any podcast at all ever. Anyway, so I was going through some of the questions, and this one just kind of struck me as one that I would like to talk about. So this question is... when do you do the tasks that, as my brain sees it, don't need to be done each week, like taking the fridge apart or cleaning it or cleaning walls, baseboards, and doors, or dusting every surface, including ceiling fans, wiping cabinet shelves and the fronts of them, or taking the hardware off to soak and clean all the gumminess off, or cleaning the oven, including, pulling it out and scrubbing the sides. Okay, so basically we're talking about major deep cleaning that does not need to be done all the time. And yes, I totally get it. But let me just kind of talk about those things. If you'll notice, if you've been around the site for very long, I don't have these kinds of checklists. I do have a podcast and a big post and a checklist on how to clean a messy house and get it ready for guests. That one does go through this kind of stuff. It talks through, I think it's actually 2 podcasts. I did a 2-parter. It talks through identifying all of those things and then working yourself down through the list so that you cover all of those little details and things like that. Because honestly, with my slob vision that I suffer from, I generally don't see that stuff until I know I'm about to have guests over to my house. But to me, that's part of the beauty of having guests over is it makes me notice those little detail things. There are, I know cleanmama.net, I think. Becky over there has some great, super duper detailed cleaning checklists that take you through that over the course of a year. I think Motivated Moms has something like that as well. Believe most of those are paid checklists, but I'm just going to tell you from my perspective because I get it. Okay. I get what you're talking about. But I'm going to tell you how it works for me. Not that I have it down perfectly or that I have a perfect home. Okay. First thing I'm going to make sure you understand is that I do suffer from T.P.A.D, time passage awareness disorder, which means that I don't notice those things. That with my slob vision, they're all related. They're all made up by me, little conditions that I have. But anyway, basically, I don't see these things. I don't think along the lines of, wow, it has been 3 months since I cleaned my baseboards. No, it's like, oh my goodness, those look horrendous. I need to get on those. And then whether I do or not, that's a whole nother story. But anyway, basically, I don't have those little tick-tock checklists because when I've had them in the past, I forget about them. You know, it really is, I see it and I need to do it. But here's the difference between then versus now, okay? I used to depend on cleaning inspiration. That's this cleaning energy that would just come over me because it happens. It happens to everybody, all right? I think. Basically, I would go about my life, not ever thinking about cleaning, not ever thinking about anything basically like that because I was involved in whatever else it was that was consuming my brain. And then all of a sudden I would go, oh my goodness, I need to clean my house. I need to clean. Oh my goodness, I am in the mood to get this place cleaned up once and for all. That was how I viewed it. But when I would do that, and I had that cleaning energy that hit me that day, and today's the day I'm going to get this place cleaned up, I would have to start in the kitchen because the kitchen was a disaster, because the kitchen's the place that we use and create messes all the time, 2 to 3 times a day, depending on the time of year that it is for our family. That's the place where we had to start. It was also the place where life was the most hindered by the fact that we hadn't kept up with the things that we needed to keep up with. And so I would start in the kitchen, clean the kitchen, and then 5 or 6 hours later, my cleaning energy was long gone. And even though the rest of my house overall looked horrendous still, I didn't have any more of that cleaning inspiration or cleaning energy. And so I was done. That was it. If I wasn't having people coming over to my house, then I was like, oh, this is pointless. What's the point? Okay. So all of that cleaning energy went into the kitchen. When I started the blog, not knowing what I was doing, just knowing that that's where I usually used up all of my cleaning energy, I started focusing on the kitchen. I've just got to figure out how these other people whose homes are not disasters always seem to have a clean kitchen, and mine's always disaster. So I started working in there, started doing the dishes. That is my big thing. As you know, if you've ever listened to any podcast or read anything of mine, you know that my big thing is get those dishes under control, and then you'll actually start to make traction. And ultimately, I think that's what this question is about. It's about traction, because here's what happens. When I finally got the dishes under control, and then I started moving on to the next little teeny tiny thing, like sweeping the kitchen every day, which I have not been doing lately. And I can really, really tell, okay, a big difference in my whole house because I'm not working on that. And I mean, I haven't been keeping up with that habit. I've been keeping up with dishes because I get overwhelmed with other things. And so, okay, I'll just at least do the dishes. And oh my word, that's so much better than it ever was pre-blog. But if I can work on those little habits, and then the next habit is checking the bathroom for clutter, then the next habit is doing a 5-minute pickup. Then if those daily habits are under control, if they are being done every day, then when I get the burst of cleaning energy that naturally happens, then I don't have to do those things first. Okay? So if my kitchen is clean, if my dishes are done, and my kitchen floor has been swept every day. So I don't have to pick up the grocery sacks or the newspapers or the random other things that happen to be on the kitchen floor before I can even get to mopping it. Then mopping, which, is one of my weekly cleaning tasks that I do on Thursdays. But even if I'm not doing that, then all of a sudden, if I get this urge to mop, then all I have to do is mop. And it's like I've created all this time in my day by not having to do those catch-up tasks first. Not catch-up, catch-up tasks. Meaning those things that should be done daily, but I wasn't doing those things daily. Okay? For example, my daughter is on this kick. She wants to earn money for something. And so the deal is I will pay her to dust and vacuum. But if we haven't been doing our daily pickup, then dusting and vacuuming is not just dusting and vacuuming. It's also cleaning up the house before dusting and vacuuming. See what I'm saying? So it's like that. If those daily tasks are under control and the weekly tasks are going like they should be going, then all of those things take so much less time than I ever realized they would take. Okay, I thought cleaning my kitchen was a 4 to 5 hour ordeal. Turns out it's like a 10 to 15 minute ordeal if I do it every day. It's dishes math. Okay, it's that one day's worth of dishes takes 10 minutes to get the kitchen cleaned up. If I let it go 2 days, suddenly it takes 45 minutes. It's not just double, it's like 45 because there's all this shifting that has to go on. And, things don't all fit in one load. And so now I've all of a sudden got to do 2 loads, all of a sudden have to do 2 loads. 3 days worth of dishes goes back to a 4-hour kitchen cleanup. So that's, getting that concept first, focusing first on dishes and realizing, okay, dishes done every day takes 10 to 15 minutes. Then that creates time in my day where normally I would have been focusing on catching up on dishes. So when those little time gaps happen, then I am able to start from a place where my house is pretty much under control. And so then all I have to do, Like if I have that burst of cleaning energy or I see those baseboards, then I can just go ahead and do those in what I used to would have spent on dishes and bathroom clutter and general pickup and all that. Does that make sense? So it really does add time to my day. So instead of, because here's the thing, if I do a checklist of I'm going to do this every day, and then on Fridays I'm going to do this, and then on the first day of the month I'm going to do this thing, and then the second day of the month I'm going to do this thing, and the third day I'm going to do this thing. First of all, I lose the checklist. I have no idea where I put it by day 3 or 4. Second of all, I start to feel behind because I think, oh wait, I need to go back and do this. That just doesn't work for my personality, unfortunately. Oh my word, I so wish it did. But for me, it doesn't. So those big tasks are things that I tackle now with the same cleaning energy that I used to have to tackle the daily stuff. I hope that makes a little teeny tiny bit of sense. Okay. So time increases as the daily stuff isn't part of a cleaning day. So taking a cleaning day, because you'll have a Saturday where you go, oh wow, we don't have anything for these 2 hours. I'm going to clean the house. To be able to start from a place where your dishes don't have to be part of that, where, picking up the house doesn't have to be part of that, where even cleaning the bathrooms doesn't have to be part of that. Then all of a sudden a cleaning day is actual deep cleaning. Okay. I never got to that before because a cleaning day was actually a catch-up day. I just didn't realize it was a catch-up day. Not catch-up, catch-up. Okay. But I also want to clarify real quick that sometimes part of my problem was not so much that I don't want to say that these things weren't a problem. But sometimes the other thing to remember is that for me personally, when I was just completely overwhelmed in my home, I would fixate on the wrong thing. I would look at the baseboard in my bedroom and think of that as my problem. That is the focus of my messy house. Like that is the big problem in my messy house. When in reality, the dishes were the real problem and the fact that I wasn't keeping up with that. Okay. So what I mean by that is when I would have, if you're in a place where you're just completely overwhelmed, I would look at the baseboard in my bedroom and see that as the thing I needed to focus on. And then I would spend that hour of cleaning energy, or that 2 hours that I had on a Saturday to focus on cleaning my house. I would spend it on those baseboards while the dishes in my kitchen sat undone. And then I would be done and I would have used all that energy and I would have used all that time and had to go back to regular life of taking kids to sporting events or whatever it was that I needed to do. And my house didn't look any better. Okay, so I would then feel like, oh, I've cleaned all day. And I would want people to notice in my family. I mean, I spent all day cleaning those baseboards in my bedroom, y'all. I mean, come on. Let me get a little credit here, right? Because I like credit when I do some cleaning. So I would do that, but then my house would look horrible and it would be time to make dinner on Saturday night. And I would go in to the kitchen and be frustrated, or, my husband would say, hey, I'm going to cook such and such tonight. And it was like, oh, then hold on, I need to move all this stuff so that you can do that. And oh man, I'm so behind on dishes. And it's like focusing on those things instead of the daily habits. The things that should have been daily habits is kind of where my brain would go when I was overwhelmed, because the baseboards were a once every several months or whatever kind of a task. I don't know. Go look at those expert people to find out when they say how often you should do those tasks. But I think some people probably do them once a week. Anyway, but as I would look at those things, and focus on that instead of on the stuff that was supposed to be daily, I would make no progress. And that's where I would get really frustrated. And then my brain would warp it and make me think, I can never do this. What's the point of even trying? Because I never actually make progress, where the progress is going to come from getting those daily things under control. So on a day when the house is out of control, knowing that order to go in is huge, because here's what will happen too. We talked about this with the visibility rule. The visibility rule is so important. And sometimes, yes, those baseboards are just glaring to me. And for me, that's where my visibility is focused. But to shake my head and say, no, what overall in my house is the biggest eyesore? Well, it's going to be the dishes in the sink. That's just, well, let's all say it. It's gross. We can't pretend like it's not gross to have cereal bowls or, whatever stuck in the sink. And, they're going to start stinking after a while if we don't get them figured out, don't get them cleaned up. Knowing where to focus on dishes first, so that if you have that burst of cleaning energy and the house is a total disaster, which happens even after I've done so much better for 6-7 years, whatever. If I will focus on the kitchen first, then whenever that burst of cleaning energy is over, or whenever the fact that I'm a mother and, have other people living in my home who have needs and things that go on, at whatever point I have to stop, if I have focused on that first, then I'm going to see visible progress in my home. And seeing visible progress in my home keeps me going, okay? And it means that tomorrow, as long as when I maybe get another burst of cleaning energy, as long as I have kept up with those dishes, okay, and done them in that whole 10-15 minutes, the next cleaning burst of energy that I have, I'm able to make more visible progress. And so I go through those 4 daily tasks, the ones that I always talk about all the time. They're the ones that are in 28 Days to Hope for Your Home, which is not available right now, but is going to be part of my book, which will come out on November 8th. It will be the appendix in that book. So the book itself is not that, but it'll be the appendix. So the 4 daily tasks: number 1, do the dishes every single day. Okay. Number 2, sweep the kitchen every single day. Number 3, check the bathrooms for clutter. Again, that goes back to this whole concept of letting yourself use those bursts of cleaning energy for the deep extra cleaning. Okay. So checking the bathrooms for clutter is not about cleaning the bathroom every day. It's about going in there and looking and saying, okay, I'm going to deal with this clutter. The stuff that's on the floor, I'm going to pick it up. The stuff that's strewn across the bathroom counter, I'm going to straighten it, put it away, whatever. Throw away the trash that somehow is just sitting on the bathroom counter, whatever. If I will do that, then on bathroom cleaning day, bathroom cleaning only takes so much less time. And then when those bursts of cleaning energy happen, that's when I go, wow, I need to wash my shower curtain. Or, I need to do an extra whatever. And here's a little tip for bathroom cleaning that I have a post about on the blog that shows. I'd seen this on Pinterest, and there's a link to where I saw it, because we all know that you don't learn something from Pinterest. Pinterest is just a place that has links to sites where you actually find the information. We all know that, right? Okay. That's a blogger pet peeve, is when people say, oh, I found it on Pinterest. And you're like, or I learned this on Pinterest. No, you learned this from the site, the person who wrote it, you found it, that site through Pinterest. Okay, whatever. That was a rabbit trail. Anyway, so I have a link to the site that I got this idea from. But basically, I had some grout in my bathroom that was moldy. I mean, it was gross. And I really thought, oh my goodness, this is past help. I had scrubbed it with all sorts of different things, did not work. Nothing really made any kind of a real difference. But this lady, who I linked to in that blog post, had put soaked cotton balls in bleach and then laid them on the grout and left them overnight. Obviously, you cannot do this in your kids' bathroom unless your kids are not home. But it totally just bleached out that grout, and that is gone. And I know that technically bleach does not kill mold, blah, 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 whatever, I get it. But it looks so much prettier. And then somebody else left a comment saying that you will bleach your grout if your grout's not white. Well, mine was, and it looks a whole lot better. So I'm happy. But anyway, so that's an idea for that. But those kinds of things, those like things that I know should be done, but when I'm just constantly catching up, I go, I don't have the time for that. I don't have the time for dealing with this big, horrible issue because I've got to deal with all these other things. Well, as I deal with those things daily and weekly and consistently, they take so much less time and it frees up time. So ultimately, it's a matter of making time to deal with those bigger, more daunting things like taking off knobs and soaking them and all that kind of stuff. Those things take those are the things that for me personally, I'm always shocked at how quickly I can get that stuff done. But the reason I put it off again and again and again, and it becomes this daunting thing in my head of, oh my goodness, I don't have time for that. It's because I haven't kept up with the daily stuff. When I'm keeping up with the daily stuff, then I can breathe. And then when I have time, it's not this catching up that I have to do in that time. Instead, I'm able to focus on those bigger things. Okay, let me check my notes and see if I had something else I was going to say. Okay, so here's how it comes down. Add time to your day by keeping up with the daily stuff so that you don't have to deal with dishes math, so that dishes are not taking you hours, they're taking you 10 minutes, okay? That only happens when I'm doing my dishes every single day. Okay, that's when those things. So the 2 hours that I normally would have spent, now I don't have to spend those because I've been doing my dishes every day. They've been taking 10 minutes and I can spend that 2 hours doing something else. If the weekly cleaning tasks are being done and they're taking way less time than they normally would because I'm keeping up with the daily tasks, well, then all of a sudden, in those moments of cleaning energy, that's when I can tackle those bigger things. Okay. Another thing to remember is decluttering helps with all of this. Those two things, daily tasks and decluttering, go together. There's no one without the other. Daily tasks are made so much more difficult when there's too much stuff in the way. But decluttering progress will not last without daily habits that keep that progress going. Okay. So those two things are really, really important. Those of you, okay, so that's what I'm going to end there. Those of you who are patrons, I just sent out a notice of when our hangout will be. And I apologize for having flaked last month on that. But anyway, if you would like to find out more about being a patron, you can go to Patreon, patreon.com/A Slob Comes Clean, or go to the show notes for this podcast number 95, over at aslobcomesclean.com. If you are in iTunes and you are subscribed, there should be a little I with a circle around it. If you will click on that for this episode, it will take you to the show notes there within iTunes, and you can click on those links. But you can be a patron of the show. That'd be great. Or anybody, I would love it if you would use my Amazon link, aslobcomesclean.com/Amazon. That will take you directly to Amazon's homepage, and anything that you purchase after you get to Amazon that way will, I'll get a teeny tiny little bit. So appreciate that. Thanks for joining me, and I will let you guys know in the next couple of weeks. I will be taking some time off in the summer to focus on motherhood because I don't have the brain power to both do this and do motherhood. I mean, I do, but it's really important to me to focus on my family for that period of time. So I will be doing that. The best way for you to make sure that you don't miss anything when it does come out in the summer, because I do randomly write things or put things out in the summer, is to make sure that you're a member of the newsletter, which is completely free. Go to aslobcomesclean.com/newsletter, and that will take you to a page where you can enter your email address, and part of the benefit of that is you will get, for the first 5 days, I think it is, you'll have my best decluttering solutions delivered straight to your inbox for free, so that you can get started on that. Because I mean, the other thing about summer and you kind of having those strange pockets of time where things aren't crazy. Oh yeah, things get crazy in the summer, but you'll have these weird pockets of time. Focusing on decluttering in a way that's going to make a really lasting impact in your home. So thanks for joining me today. I will talk to you guys next week. Bye.